Hello everyone, just before I start, there's a lot to say in this video, so you have to bear with me, because there's a lot to go through here. And it's an unfortunate topic. Again, Ireland, Irish people, just before I start, are generally happy people. And the problem is, and it's just to say it straight, and again, the reason why you see what you see on the screen is not because of the Irish people, it's the government. It's the government, and particularly Mary Butler, the Minister for Mental Health. God only knows how she still has the title as Minister for Mental Health. Because excessive governments, and Mary Butler have been the Minister for Mental Health for the last 2020 or so, a bit more, 2019 maybe, around that point, and she's still the Minister for Mental Health. And even before her, the Irish government have consistently, particularly with young people, have consistently left young people behind. And I nearly would suggest that the government want people to be like this, to be totally honest. And this is my suggestion, nearly, that they nearly want people to be sad and to be depressed and upset. They nearly want to be totally honest, because there's no effort to change anything. And I'll get into that in a second. Because, to be totally honest, because there's no will to change it, and nothing has changed, pretty much. I myself, back years ago, went through a lot in terms of mental health trouble. I was in a mental health hospital when I was first year in secondary school. I have a whole video discussing about that. But I know about it. I went through all this. I know the suffering. I know. I suffer with anxiety still to this day. I know the suffering. I can understand. And again, it's only when you go through these things you really, really understand about these things. And it's such a sad thing to say that Ireland is literally, in this report at the moment, the worst in the European Union. And it just shows you. And as it says, 48% of the Irish population pretty much are considered depressed and considered, have mental health struggles. And it's really, really upsetting, considering you take in all the European Union. Ireland is one of the worst. It's quite insane to think about, especially because we're such a small country. Again, we're not a big country. But according to this survey, depression and anxiety, 75% of the adult population of this country faces some kind of depression, anxiety, and stress. And the reason why, the majority, I know myself, the majority of stress and anxiety is from paying the bills. Will I have enough money to pay the bills? And again, at the end of the day, if somebody works a 40-hour week, they should never have to worry about having enough money to pay the bills or being evicted from their house. And again, this is the worries of a lot of adult Irish people at the moment, young people too, being evicted because of their landlord. Or even take, for example, paying the bills. Simple as that. Or having enough food, having enough money to get food to eat. And then obviously to try and buy a house and stuff, pay a mortgage. It drives people mad, generally, and that seems to be what the government want to do here. And I'm not making this political into that, but it seems to be, because there's nothing has changed. For the last 30 years in this country, nearly, it's always been the same system in this country in the terms of the mental health services. And nothing has changed, and that's what I'm saying. If something would have changed, at least then you could have said the government cared. But the reality is, and the simple truth is, Mary Butler and Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and nearly all of them in the Dáil, they don't give a shit. Simple as that. They couldn't give a shit. And it's such a sad thing to say, but it is the truth. We have to face reality. We can't be in denial. And it is the truth, sadly. And then especially when you come to young Irish people, and as you see here, 43% aged 18 to 24, my age group, the most vulnerable people, the people that are only starting out in life, they have the whole life ahead of them. The whole life ahead of them, could do anything in life. The majority of them have huge levels of anxiety and stress and depression. And it's such a sad thing to see, because and everybody knows, when you're young, and older people, you hear it all the time from older people, and I never knew about it until now, when, looking back on it. Older people always say, enjoy your youth, because, when you get old and stuff like that, there's illnesses and stuff, the other challenges when you get older. But enjoy your youth, that's always what you hear older people saying, enjoy your youth, enjoy your school days, enjoy this. But it's such a sad thing to see young people start now. You think they'd be full of optimism. I can achieve stuff. I can actually become something and do stuff and become something. But unfortunately, the sad reality is a lot of people are with extreme anxiety, stress. And again, the stress part is about trying to get out of your home house, trying to rent the property, trying to get your first car. And again, the government in no way are helping you out. They're pretty much just fucking you over as much as they can. And it's such a sad thing to say, and particularly anxiety. And again, we could talk to the cows come home, but anxiety too, obviously, with the internet and stuff like that, and too much internet, social media, the excessive amount of information in the modern age. Because years ago, there wasn't as much. But our brains, young people's brains, are too overloaded with what's happening in reality in society, because there's too much going on, and I often find that myself. There's too much going on to try and process. It's hard to process. The human mind is not like a computer. It can't process everything. You can only process a certain amount of information. But it's such a sad thing. And then we get to the next 44% of 25 to 34-year-olds extra and it generally gets worse from there, to be totally like. You think about 75% of the adult population of Ireland, is facing, and it's the worst in the European Union. Like, you think about other countries, Germany, Poland, bigger populations than Ireland. It's such a sad thing to say. It really, really is, and I wish I didn't have to say it, but it is the truth. And there's many different things we can do. And again, the Irish government don't care, and I nearly would go as far as saying the Irish government really want this, to be totally honest, because they don't want people to seem to be happy, to be totally honest. They don't want people to pursue happiness. They want people to be afraid and to be terrified and not to speak up and not to say anything, because it suits the government's narrative. Because, let's be honest, if they would have wanted, they could do something overnight if they wanted to. There's money, there's hundreds of millions a year. They have money to throw for everything else, for bicycle sheds and stuff. They could do something in the morning if they wanted to. Again, it's the will too. They have no will to do it, and they just simply don't care. A lot of them don't give a shit. Simple as that. Mary Butler, no addition. Hasn't done one useless thing, one good thing for anybody. And it's simple as that. The same with the rest of them, Dáil Éireann. But again, the TDs don't care. Councils don't care. And I'm going to show you about Cavan. Now, Cavan has suffered extremely, and there's cases in Cavan I could go into here, but it's far too harsh to even think of it. Some of the suffering some people went through before the end of their own life, it's too much to go through. But I just want to show you this comment from a Facebook group that I'm in, and this week, unfortunately, lost 3 people to suicide in this county. And again, it's nearly every month there's somebody in Cavan committing suicide. It's very bad in Cavan. It's extremely bad. It really, really is bad, and it's always been bad. It's been bad for the last 5 years, and Mary Butler's decided to do nothing. And the problem is, just before I get into this, and again, I do appreciate this person sharing it, because it's a tough thing to say. It's a tough thing to have to come out, and I admire somebody that has the courage to come out, because it takes a lot, even though they don't have their name. It takes a lot to come out and say, I'm not feeling okay. But it's getting them words out. That's the thing we need to get into society. It's getting them words out. I'm not feeling okay. It's not a crime. It's not, the be on and end all. But just saying to somebody, your friend, your family, your neighbour even, that, look, I'm not feeling okay. Can I have a discussion? Can I have a talk? It's okay not to feel okay. Simple as that. And it's true. It's true. As one teacher I had in school said, a problem shared is a problem halved. And by God, that's right. Like, a problem shared is a problem halved. It's about getting it out there. Because having all these thoughts in your head, it's better getting it out than keeping it all in your head, bubbling over. Because eventually it will bubble over if you don't talk about, discuss it. Talking is the best medicine. It really, really is. But again, just if you read through this, he went to his GP 3 weeks ago in Cavan. Pretty much, it's awful to read. It really, really is awful to read. And especially when you read this bit. It was referred to the mental health services in Cavan was rejected. And sadly, and again, this is the sad reality, this is the normal thing, unfortunately, in Cavan. In a lot of cases, not straight up rejection, but you wait months just to be seen to, just to be, assessed. Right. You could wait 5 months. For a young person now, go to CAMHS in Cavan. You could wait 5 months just to be seen. And then to be told, oh yeah, we can't do anything for you, goodbye. It's a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And Mary Butler could have done something a long time ago. Again, it's not a new problem. It's not something that materialised overnight. It's been there for a long time. And I just want to give out another bit, because So Sad is a voluntary group in Cavan. And they're voluntary. They don't get any money from the state. Pay the house or nobody gives them any money. And this is the thing. This is the thing I want to get across. That's So Sad at the moment. They have offices in Cavan, Monaghan, Dundalk. And at the moment they're facing closure. Because they don't have the money to keep the services open. It's voluntary. Nobody pays a penny to go into it. And that's the way it should be. And it's a voluntary group. And it's doing more than the state in Cavan. And no council or TD in Cavan's willing to admit it. But they are. They're doing more than CAMHS or they're doing more than the HSE. Simple as that. It's the truth. We might not be in denial, because it is the truth. We can't be denial all the time about this. But it is the truth, and we have to face it. And the councillors and TDs have to start opening their mouths, because at the moment there's no leadership too. That's the other problem. There's no leadership. There's no will to fight this. There's no will, because sending letters and stuff to the HSE and to Mary Butler is no good. It's only words that will move it. Words of argument, aggressive words that can make things happen. Because writing letters and stuff like that is all well and good, but at the end of the day they can be ignored and just sidelined. But it's such a sad thing to say that this is happening, and so many people being let down. And not just in Cavan, across the country, but particularly in Cavan, it's extremely bad. I can't emphasise to you how bad it is, to be totally honest. I simply cannot sit here and emphasise it, because you don't know how bad it is. You generally don't know how bad it is, because there's no words that can emphasise how bad it is. But it's such a travesty. It really, really is. Particularly for young people, it's such a travesty. And I wouldn't mind, so many people seek help, and when they seek help, they don't get it. But that's why I'm saying, as somebody says, I think the person says at the bottom, if we can't get professional help, we need to help each other. And I think that hits the nail on the head, because it's together. It's only Joes. Your friends, your family, your neighbours. They're the people, they're the core of a community. Not the HSE, not the government, not our TDs, councillors, whoever. It's together. It's friends, groups, family, neighbours. The community, the wider community where you live in Cavan, whereabouts it could be in the world. That's who it is. It's all about community. It's all about people. And it is all really about people. And I think in Cavan, a lot of the councillors and TD have lost the value that it's people. We're not solving ourselves, we're solving people. This is people. Every number we talk about here that unfortunately has passed away due to suicide, every person that's going in to try and seek help for their mental health is a person behind the number. It's not just a number, because in the eyes of our politicians, in the eyes of the state, it's just another number. That seems to be the attitude of the Irish state, and it's sickening. It really would sicken you. It's a disgrace, this country, and again, that we are the worst in the European Union in this survey. It's beggars belief. It really, really is beggars belief that it's such a high number. Again, it's such a high number. It's not like it's a small number, and and this is the thing. I can't get my head around. There's poorer countries in the European Union, and they're suffering a lot less. So it doesn't make any sense. But the government are doing nothing to help. The government are doing nothing. Our local councillors and TDs are doing nothing to help in Cavan. Not one of them. There's no leadership. That's the problem too. None of them are willing to stand up and say what needs to be said. They're all too afraid. They'll come out now and again and say something. But we need consistency. We need consistency. Argue with Mary Butler. That's the only way we're going to get through. We argue all the time. Put her on blast on the local radios, in the local newspaper, in the national newspapers needs be. But put her on blast. That's what these councillors should be doing. Put her on blast. What I mean by that is keep mentioning her name, keep shouting her down. Simple as that. Because that's the only way to do it, unfortunately. Because sending letters and having meetings and going around in circles is achieving nothing. But just going back to so sad, it's a terror that a voluntary group is doing more than the state. And that the state doesn't want to give it. Again, it's all Mary Butler too behind it too. But it's a disgrace. It really, really is. And I'm sure you can hear it in my voice that I'm very, very fuming over it. Because I know myself, I went through it. I know the system, I know it. And it's so infuriating. Because people who seek help, you're nearly demonised in terms of the system. And it's a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And especially when you see this time and time again. And nothing has been learned. That's what I'm saying. It'd be different if something was learned and something changed. But nothing has changed. And Cavan is still the same. For the last 5 years, nothing has really changed in any regard. There's all promises, this will be done, that will be done. But at the end of the day, nothing was done. Simple as that. Nothing was done. So sad, as I say, there's no will from the state really to keep it open. Hopefully they do get emergency funding, but the state is not much help with them. But I really would suggest, and again, as I said at the beginning of this video, that the government are doing this to people, are willingly doing this to people. Because they know what they're doing. Don't think that it's not incompetence. It's not stupidity. They know that it's a calculated, witty effort nearly at this stage from the government. It really, really is. Because you have to look at it, because it simply must be. Because it couldn't be stupidity or incompetence. And there's more I could say. There's 100 million more things I could say. But it's insane. But again, it's up to people too to help each other. It's up to us as individuals, as citizens of Ireland, to help each other, help our neighbours, help our friends, talk to each other. Because again, there's not enough talking in this world, in societies and stuff, and particularly with young people, there's not enough talking. And I know people say about feelings and stuff like that, and it's hard to get out of your mouth that you need help and that you're not feeling okay. It's a difficult thing, I know myself, but it's important for people too. It's really, really important, because keeping it in your mind it doesn't help anybody. It eventually will blow up, and it's better to speak. It's better to speak about them, because a problem shared is a problem halved. But what I would say to people is, and I hope someday, something will change somewhere in this society in terms of mental health, in terms of services and stuff like that for our citizens, or even just for young people, even if it's some change for young people particularly, because again, they're the most vulnerable in society, the young people, the next generation, and unfortunately we're letting them down. Not us as the Irish people, the government is letting them down, because again, people are paying enough in taxes. It's not like there's no money and stuff like that. So let me know what you think, subscribe for more, and bye.